Hi, this is Jimmie Thompson, your broker, consultant, and collaborator the next time you buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Welcome to Road to Home Realty's This Week in Real Estate, where you get a behind-the-scenes look into buying, selling, and investing in real estate. So, in a recent transaction that I represented the seller, we had a buyer that was overly sensitive to mold. While mold is not normally something that we deal a lot with in the Phoenix metro area because it's so dry, there's still those people that are highly sensitive to mold, and it's very important to them. So this particular buyer did an initial mold inspection, and that's not something that everybody always does, but obviously this is something that was important to them. And that mold inspection turned up a slight trace of mold. While it was still within the guidelines of an acceptable amounts of mold, because almost all houses have them, the buyer chose to get a second opinion. And this is where something happened that I'd never had happen before. The buyer brought in a mold dog. Yes, a mold dog. Well, I didn't fully understand how, and I didn't get to see it, but while I didn't fully understand, how they would tell if there's mold, there's no doubt that they could find mold in a house if trained to do so. So the mold dog found mold in the secondary bathroom. There was some slight water damage from a leak underneath the sink, and this is where the mold was coming from. So the buyer decided to cancel, unfortunately, for my sellers. But based on that information, this was actually worked out good for the sellers. Now they elected to replace the vanity. So just take the vanity out, take the mold away. So then they chose to have someone out to verify that there was no mold beyond that. So we're in good shape there. I thought this was a great idea and a great way for sellers to take advantage of a report that they didn't have to pay for. So that happens sometimes with home inspections. If buyers cancel, at least you have the report to go on because you now know why they canceled. As you can see, there are many times that a real estate transaction can go south, and for many different reasons. You don't always need a mold dog to do it, but it's always important to have a great real estate representation when your health and safety are on the line. So give me a call and I'll make sure everything is taken care of. And I'd like to see you in your next real estate transaction. 602-541-5885.